I'm back with DustFest's ongoing coverage of IEM Cologne 2023, and I'm here with the Australian prodigy himself, Vexite, coming off of a tough loss against FURIA in your opening match. So I wanted to ask you, you had, I think on an individual level, you had a very strong performance, but ultimately it wasn't enough to take down FURIA in their debut. What do you think were the major factors in the match that resulted in, FURIA just pushing out a little bit ahead?
I think on our CT side, we didn't really have a good read, and their game plan was pretty good. Pretty sure they booked us like a lot of rounds. I think individual performance, like individual ability, got us through like 3 or 4 gun rounds, so that helped us like a lot. And then on T side, we lost I think 3 antis, not just on T side, but throughout the whole game. I think we lost 3 anti-ecos, which is obviously just not good enough. Like not only best of 1, but best of 3 as well. I think we won both pistols, which is good. Yeah, I don't know. We just didn't really play properly as a team. Like we made a lot of issues as a team.
So something I will say about the pistol comments you made is when we just finished talking up to Gary, and he mentioned that you guys are he said, quote, that you guys are like insane on pistols. Is there something in particular, a lot of people say pistols are very much of a roll of the dice, but is there something in particular that allows you guys to excel when it comes to pistol rounds?
I don't actually know what our pistol round stats are, but Alistair brings all the pistols, and we obviously practice them quite a bit, and I guess that's just it. We're just well drilled on pistol rounds, if we're even good at them. I don't even know how many we win, to be honest. But on the force buy rounds and deagle rounds and stuff, I think we sort of take it a lot slower, and we just let loose a little bit. Usually we're talking in those rounds most of the time, and then we usually conduct a plan later in the round. And I don't know, I think it's just that we're a bit calmer and a bit more let loose because the pressure's on them, on those sorts of rounds. And people also give us respect on those rounds as well usually.
And I also wanted to sort of touch base with you on the fact that, despite only being 18 years old, you're one of the most veteran players that are still in the Australian scene, actively playing at the top level. Is there in the team, are you one of the voices on the squad, or sort of what's how involved are you on the strategic level of the team based on your level of experience?
There's been a bit of a role shuffle from when I first joined. So when I first joined, I was the second IGL in terms of authority and stuff, and that was my role. Slowly, as the team went on, we didn't find too much success, and I think Inns has much better reads when there's not too many people talking at once, and it's just him reading the game and playing the game. And pretty much that just means that I have to stay a bit more quiet, and other players have to be a bit quieter, and just give necessary information and just let Inns read and play the game. And also, honestly, it's been helping me quite a bit as well. I didn't think it would because I've always been a pretty I don't know, I take a lot of initiative as a player, which is what I've been always throughout my career. And I don't know, surprisingly, it's helped me focusing on my individual a bit more. I've had a lot better performances since I've stepped back in the second IGL role.
I also wanted to ask you a bit. I feel like the Australians are a bit of kindred spirits, us NA, people, in the sense that our scenes have taken very big hits in the last 2 or 3 years since COVID, Valorant, and just people aging out and retiring. What is the current state of the Australian scene? We take a look at it, and we have Grayhound, we have Vertex, and we have a couple other smaller teams. How is the scene? Do you think the scene's recovered since sort of the dark days, or what's the current state of the Australian scene?
I don't think there's much money in the Australian scene. I don't think a lot of teams are getting paid, or maybe they are. I don't know. We haven't even been playing in Oz for a while. We played. It's probably been 2 months, I think, since we played in Oz properly and actually practiced there, because we didn't even practice. We couldn't find scrims because there were qualifiers on the last time we were in Australia. So yeah, I don't really know. But in terms of the teams, I think Rooster, Vertex, and obviously us are competitive, but we always usually win. But yeah, Vertex and Rooster, I think, are just competing for spots. And I actually do think that they can do well overseas if they had more chances. I think there's a big mental barrier between, mental block between us and the other Australian teams. They just think we're better, and obviously we think we're better as well. So we play a lot more confident, and they play a bit more scared in the big matches. But obviously that's just experience as well. It all comes down to it. And I don't know. I think if they had more chances overseas, then they'd do better.
And, with that in mind, Rooster will be heading the, Pro League soon alongside Grayhound. You mentioned the fact that you think they have a chance to sort of make, to have a sort of a breakout thing there. Looking at Grayhound specifically, the team, despite their struggles, does frequently take maps off of European, CIS, and occasionally NA teams, but they can never turn into consistent run. Is there some sort of roadblock? Does it just come down to the fact that you aren't able to be in Europe full time, or what's sort of the next step the team needs to take to level up their game?
I think if we knew the answer to that, we'd probably be doing it. But I think it's just safe to say, trying to get more boot camps in, which is what we're trying to do. I think we already have one more boot camp planned for the next tournament. I don't even know. I think it's Pro League, and we boot camped for this one as well, obviously, which was great. And then I think also just maybe individual like hours and effort when we're playing in Australia. I think people definitely take the foot off the gas because I don't know, it can be a bit like not boring, but I don't know. It's definitely hard to keep high hours in Australia considering that you have to play at certain times. You can't just like play at like I don't know 12 at night deathmatch or something. You have to play at like 9 p.m, 8 p.m. Sometimes in the afternoon if you're lucky, and like it's hard to practice all the time. You kind of have to just make do of whatever you have. And yeah, no, I think to answer your question, I think ultimately more hours when you play in Australia and more boot camps and start time overseas, but also like more time. Like we've only been together for like me joining the team, and I think I'm a pretty big change to a team in terms of like my voice or whatever, and like just what I bring. I take up a lot of space as a player, I think, and integrating that can be difficult. And I think Inz has done a good job, and I think we just need more time. Like we've only been together for like less than a year, I think. So.
And, with that in mind, sort of time is the main consideration for it seems like everything in Greyhound's progression. Since leaving Order, I guess for the sake of, my own knowledge and maybe the knowledge of people who are listening, is Greyhound a full-time team, or what's the current situation like with the, organization / not organization / Mr. Greyhound? What's the current like status of the Greyhound project? Is it full-time?
I thought it was known already, but I had this question asked previously as well. It's definitely full-time. Like we get paid full-time. Obviously there's sticker money as well and everything. We have contracts, like everything's full time. It's just not like there's not like a lot of staff or anything behind the organisation. It's just Mr. Grayhound doing it all, and it works good to be honest. We don't have many issues. Like it's all simple and the communication's good because it's direct. That's all.
Speaking of Mr. Greyhound, just something for my own amusement is I see at certain events Mr. Greyhound will stand behind the team, and then certain times he won't stand behind the team. Like today, I don't think he stood behind against FURIA, right? And so right?
Yeah, he doesn't actually stand behind us when we play. He just like stands behind before the game, like he just has a laugh with us, and we're all mates, so we just talk and just try to keep it chill before the games. And I don't know, he just comes in sometimes to have a laugh. That's about it. He never actually stands behind us.
Mm-hmm. And so beyond having a laugh, having a mate behind you in the pre-match, has there ever been a thought about plucking one of those older players like Offnu or something to be a coach of the team?
Not really. Like we've had. I don't know, like this isn't really my decision either. This is mostly on Inz because I think IGL coach relationship is really important, and it mainly just like it's about how Inz wants to play the game and how the coach wants to play the game, and if they can sort of mesh that together and do it. And obviously that didn't really work with Kingfisher, so I don't know. I just don't think we're really actively looking for a coach at the moment. But if something did present itself, we'd probably explore it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And looking towards the future, we saw with Azure and Dexter, what was once sort of considered to be a one-off, them playing for European teams, almost had became sort of the direction they took their career in. As you as one of the most individually skilled, I think, players that's currently active in Australia, has that conversation ever come up with you and your family, or you and the team, or you and anyone else about whether you decamp to Europe to try to find your fortune there with a European squad?
I mean, like. It's not really anyone's decision apart from myself. Like I'm an adult, and I don't know. It all depends on the team, Like right now, I'm in Greyhound. I'm only thinking about Greyhound, and I genuinely think we can be a really strong team. I think we still find our footing and just give it time and just try different things. Like we don't have the most experienced players. Like we do, obviously, but like everyone has to find. I don't know how to put it. It's every 5 players is different. So you got to find like your footing with each 5 players, and we haven't necessarily found that yet.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you guys in action tomorrow.